Hi there, it's Mark from New Life Guitars here, coming to you on a beautiful Friday afternoon in the middle of winter here in Brisbane, Australia. And it's my privilege today to share with you two beautiful Japanese handmade guitars from one of Japan's most esteemed luthiers who practiced his craft between the 1950s and the mid-1980s, and that is Hiroshi Tamura. Now, Tamura was one of the many Japanese guitar makers, or several Japanese guitar makers, who went to Spain in the late 50s into the early 60s to study as apprentices, in fact, with some of the great Spanish guitar makers over there. So he brought his skill and craft back to Japan, as did numerous other luthiers of the day, and there was a good healthy competition between the Japanese luthiers who were really striving to make world-class instruments. And Hiroshi Tamura, and he had a brother also, Mitsuru Tamura, who was equally skilled as Hiroshi, and he is actually more awarded than Kono. Masaru Kono received an international guitar making award in 1967, which put him really on the map. But Tamura has also won several international and domestic awards for his guitars, so he's a very esteemed and in many ways an underrated maker of guitars. So some of that tradition of those great Japanese makers has tended to be a little bit forgotten in more recent years, which is quite a shame. But the benefit, if you could call it that, is that their instruments are very well valued in terms of their price. They are really undervalued in terms of what they deliver. So those Japanese makers were really trying to emulate their counterparts or their masters in Spain when they came back to Japan to produce the guitars which they went on to make. So their guitars are very Spanish-like in their traditions, and these two guitars, these two Tamuras, are quite Spanish-like. So we've got two guitars which are essentially like two different streams. You've got this guitar from the 1960s. This is a P39 that was made in 1966. And this is a beautiful Indian rosewood back and sides, all solid, and a solid spruce top. The other guitar I've got here is a P50 from 1972. So it's some years later, but this has got a cedar top, and it's also got beautiful rosewood back and sides, and which I'll play for you and show it off in a minute, just so you can appreciate the differences between these two guitars. But the other differences in these guitars, this P39 has a 650mm scale, which is very traditional for classical guitar. The P50 has a 655mm scale. So the P50 has very much been built in the Ramirez tradition. Now, Jose Ramirez was one of the most famous Spanish guitar makers, and he was made very famous because several very famous players of the classical guitar chose his instruments for their main performing instruments, including Segovia, and many other players of note chose Ramirez guitars and his famous 1A, which was essentially the top of the line model that was available back in those days, and they're still highly sought after today. So this guitar in rosewood and spruce has the characteristic spruce kind of a tone. It's more lyrical. It's got a very warm bass and a lyrical, slightly brighter treble component. I always like to go to the E chord as the first chord I play on a guitar, because it just gives you the expansive nature of the guitar from E to E. This guitar has also very lovely sounds when you play it up the neck. Sustain. And guitar guitars get a cello-like quality when you play them further up the neck. Compared to when you play the treble strings down low. So this guitar's got quite a low action. In fact, I may even make another saddle for it, because if you play it really firmly, you do get a little bit of fret buzz, just a little bit of fret slap, which if you're going to play flamenco is a desirable effect. But beautiful articulation. So that's the P39 from 1966. Now while you've got that sound in mind, have a listen to this P50 from 1972. Cedar, rosewood. That's such nice rosewood, it almost looks... Could be Madagascan rosewood, probably Indian, I suppose. But straight away, this guitar, it's like you've just pushed the loudness button on your stereo. It's just got a bit more of everything. And that's also because of the slightly larger dimensions, the scale length of 655 millimeters does give the guitar a little bit more power. And as I say, this is the one that is really a copy of the Ramirez 1A. So this is very Ramirez and Spanish in its sound. It's very open and a little bit warmer. The cedar just gives a little bit more depth of tone across the whole spectrum. Expressive guitar. Once again, as I always say, I could play this guitar all day. So a beautiful Ramirez-like guitar, 1972 P50. This guitar will only cost you $2,900 if you wanted to buy this instrument. This beautiful P39 from 1966 will cost you $2,650. That's Australian dollars, so $2,650. And if you contact me and say you saw these guitars in the clip, I will offer to do free postage anywhere in Australia, providing it's not at some outback station that would cost a lot of money to send to. But if you're in any of the major centres or regional towns, I'll send it to you for no cost at my expense. And I'll do a very special offer just for this video. If you are genuinely interested in buying these two guitars, and as I say, these are two distinct families of guitars, cedar and rosewood, spruce and rosewood, 655mm scale, 650mm scale. So I could christen these two guitars Apollo and Artemis, who are the twin children of Zeus, seeing everybody's talking about Greek mythology at the moment with the Odyssey having just been released. But if you'd like to buy both of these guitars, I will sell them to you for $5,000 all up. So that's just a little Facebook Marketplace special. So if you'd like either of these guitars or both, please reach out and I'll be most happy to get them into your hands. So thank you once again. Bye for now.